Everyone knows that more money is better, and side hustles are one of the most popular ways to earn more. With a side hustle, you could accelerate your wealth and cut years off of your journey to financial freedom. And you don't have to just take my word for it. 65% of millionaires have 3 or more sources of income. But what's the perfect side hustle for you? Well, that's what this video is designed to help you decide. But there's an infinite number of ways to make money on the side, so I can't go through every possible idea in just this video. But every type of side hustle can be sorted into 3 big categories, and I have experience with each one. So in this video, I'm walking through the 3 different types of side hustles, my own experience with each of them, and the pros and cons. And if you stick around to the end, I'll even share how and why I chose the side hustle that I'm currently working on. Most of you probably have a day job, or if you're still in school, you'll probably have one eventually. You can do a lot of valuable things in your time, and employers will pay you some amount of money to work for them. It's a very simple business proposition. But I'm a salaried employee, which means I don't get paid any more money for working overtime. If I want to make more money, I have to work somewhere else. And that's exactly what underpins the first type of side hustle I want to talk about, which I call service-based side hustles. In a service-based side hustle, all you do is sell more of your time for money. You don't have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to earning. It's a simple way to earn more. There are a ton of side hustles that fall within this category. Signing up for a ride-sharing service, delivering food, cleaning cars and houses, and a ton of other side hustles are all service-based side hustles. Just getting a part-time job in the evenings or weekend is the exact same idea as a service-based side hustle. Just like a regular job, you're selling your services for money. The majority of my own experience with these service-based side hustles came when I was a kid. In the summer, I'd mow lawns every weekend, and in the winter, I'd make a few extra bucks shoveling snow. This was a pretty good gig, all things considered. Some of my neighbors were willing to pay small fortunes to these bougie lawn care companies that would come and just mow their grass. So for a kid, this side hustle was pretty good. But are service-based side hustles the right side hustle for you? Well, maybe. In my opinion, service-based side hustles are the safest and easiest type of side hustle that you can get involved in, just because everybody can do something that adds value to somebody else. I think that's why side hustles like Uber and DoorDash are so popular. Anybody that can drive can get involved and make a few extra bucks. And of course, some service-based side hustles pay a lot more than that. As a data analyst, I get paid almost $50 an hour at my day job. The more valuable of a skill you have, the more you can charge for your time. That's why side hustles like video editing, computer and phone repair and tutoring, and others can make a very good income if you have real talent. Each one of those activities could bring in enough money to make it your full-time job, and that's exactly what some people do. But what are the downsides of a service-based side hustle? Well, primarily the scalability. There's a limited number of hours in the day, and if you're being paid hourly, there will be a cap on your earnings. Now, I do think that this issue gets overblown by a lot of other financial gurus. I mean, sure, if you want to be a billionaire, you're probably not going to get there by being paid hourly. But if you want to afford a few extra things or reach financial freedom a little bit faster, getting paid hourly isn't a deal breaker. Still, a lot of service-based side hustles, especially the most popular ones, are characterized by a low return on your time. Since anybody that can drive can try to be an Uber driver, there's a lot of competition. You're not going to get rich that way. So unless you can perform a very valuable service, service-based side hustles might not make a huge impact on your finances. Of course, if you have a high-paying job, you might not need a side hustle in the first place. So I wanted to tell you why I partnered with JobScan this week. Basically, it scans your resume and the job posting that you're applying to and tells you how to improve your resume to stand out for that specific position. I would not have partnered with JobScan if I didn't find it genuinely useful. But if you're still skeptical, you can test out JobScan for $0. So check out the link in the description if you're interested. But anyway, gotta move on. If you don't want to get paid hourly, you might want to consider a middleman side hustle. In a middleman side hustle, you act as a link between buyers and sellers and take a cut in the middle. This is a very well-established business model. I mean, just think about all of the things that happen before you can buy a car. Raw materials have to be mined and processed, parts have to be manufactured, the car has to be assembled, and transportation has to connect that car to a potential seller. And even after a car is made, it might go through a few more middlemen before it's actually purchased by its final owner. So in that long supply chain, as long as each company is able to add a little bit of value, they can take some amount of profit for themselves. And the same goes for you. The side hustle that gets the most attention here is dropshipping, which is about as middleman as you can be. You could also buy in bulk, for example from AliExpress, and then sell for more on services like Etsy or Amazon. I was only in 7th grade when I started making money doing this myself. I was trying to get rid of a huge collection of my childhood Playmobil collection, and that's when I noticed a very interesting discrepancy. When I went on Craigslist, there were lots of other people just like me. To get rid of their collection, they just took one ugly photo of a big box of unsorted Playmobil and put a bargain price on it. Then I looked on eBay, where people were selling individual pieces and sets. More importantly, they were selling for much higher prices. So by adding value by sorting, organizing, taking photos, listing, and shipping, I could buy Playmobil on Craigslist and resell for a much higher price on eBay and earn a nice little profit margin. Have you ever heard the saying that one man's trash is another man's treasure? The most successful middleman side hustles are when you can find these opportunities. Unlike service-based side hustles, you don't get paid an hourly rate to be a middleman. Any value that you add is yours to keep, which is why some of these side hustles can be insanely lucrative. I mean, Wall Street brokers are effectively doing just that. They're connecting buyers and sellers and pocketing the margin. Your wealth is no longer limited by the number of hours in the day. Your wealth is only limited by margin and volume. That said, the greatest strength of middleman side hustles might be their biggest weakness. While there's no cap on the profits that you could earn, there's no guarantees either. Profit depends on margin and volume, but both might be low. In a service-based side hustle, you can usually charge a minimum rate for your time. But as a middleman, that's not the case. Nobody on eBay cared how much time I had spent acquiring, organizing, and listing the Playmobil that I was selling. All they cared about was getting the best price. If you can't find an opportunity where the margins are high enough or there's not enough of something to sell, then your time spent as a middleman might not be worth the extra income. I'm certain that there are great opportunities that exist, but they might not be easy to find. That brings us to the very last type of side hustle, which is actually the type of side hustle which I'm committing all of my efforts to right now. I call these creation-based side hustles. See, instead of working for somebody else or trying to act as an intermediary between others, you could also create something yourself. There are a huge number of side hustles that fall within this category. For example, a lot of my friends in high school were super talented artists, and they could make a few extra bucks by creating and selling their artwork. But you don't have to be super artistic. You could also create food or sell lemonade on the corner like I used to as a kid. If you have other talents, like photography, knitting, or carpentry, you could create something else to sell. And this YouTube channel is a creation, as is my blog, firemansblog.com. And what's cool about the internet, and social media specifically, is that you might not even need to sell anything. That's because if you can build a large enough audience, advertisers will come to you. At least that's what I'm told. But not enough of you have smashed the like button, so I haven't actually generated any of this ad revenue. If you have a special skill or talent, a creation-based side hustle might be for you. And while you don't have to create a YouTube channel, the internet has made it easier than ever to share your work with a wider audience. And if you're already doing something as a hobby, there might be real value in trying to monetize it. I mean, if you're doing it for free, you might as well try to make some money off of it too. Of course, monetizing a hobby might not be as profitable as a more traditional side hustle. But at the same time, if it's something you already do, it might leverage your strengths and your passions. That's especially important because the biggest downside of creation-based side hustles is it can be extremely difficult to stand out. If you can create something truly unique, this might not be a problem. But with 8 billion people on the planet, it can be really tough to earn a profit when so many other people are creating something as well. Another downside is that just like middleman side hustles, there's no guaranteed return on your time. It doesn't matter how much work you put into something. The market will determine what it's worth. That may be a ton of money, which would be awesome, but it could also be very little money, and it might not be worth the effort. So why did I choose to pursue a blog and a YouTube channel as my own personal side hustles? Well, there are three factors that influenced my decision. First was my tolerance for risk. I'm on track to reach my financial goals even without any side hustle income, so my financial freedom isn't at stake. That means I'm willing to invest in a side hustle that has no guaranteed return at all. It would be a bummer if I never made anything, but I'd be okay. I'm okay taking this risk for a higher payoff. And that brings us to the second important factor, which is potential. Given that I don't need to earn any money from my side hustles, I might as well swing for the fences. So while this channel hasn't grown enough to make any money, at least at the time of filming, the potential is enormous. YouTube has a massive audience, and the biggest channels are ultra profitable. Now, the problem with swinging for the fences is that there's a lot of competition. I mean, I'm not the only one on YouTube talking about personal finance, so I wouldn't be making content if I didn't think I could stand out. And I think I do. I mean, most financial influencers I know of are talking about their sports cars, which they financed with ad revenue. Meanwhile, I'm building my wealth by not even owning a car in the first place. And that's why I'm on track to reach financial freedom even faster than Graham Stephan. So if I didn't stand out, this channel just wouldn't be worth it. And the third reason that I invest so much of my time into a YouTube channel doesn't actually have anything to do with money. It has to do with purpose. The reason that I make content about financial freedom is because when I discovered the financial freedom community myself when I was an anxious 17-year-old, it literally changed my life. And I know that there are still millions of other people just like I was, and they didn't get the financial education they needed when they were in school. That means that whether this YouTube channel makes money or not, it's still a success as long as people watch these videos and find them helpful. And that's why I ask people to hit the like button. It helps spread the videos to more people so they can learn about financial freedom. But only do it if you want to. Now, one last thing to point out. You'll notice that no matter which side hustle you pick, whether it's a service-based side hustle, a middleman side hustle, or a creation-based side hustle, none of them involve passive income. There is a reason for that, and the reason is that passive income is an absolute scam. That's really important because despite how many financial influencers talk about passive income and building as many sources of income as possible, following their advice could actually make it harder to reach financial freedom. I explained all of that and more in one of my recent videos, which I'll link right here. Picking the perfect side hustle is really important, but following their guidance won't help you do that. So check that video out next, and I'll see you next time.